Notary, how is everybody out there? We are at the end of the month. February is such a short month, isn't it? But we are at the end of the month, and tomorrow we enter into March. So we know our busy season is coming. Part of what can happen as we're in this slower time, we had 3 closings today. We expect to have 2 tomorrow. Is that we can have problems with people setting boundaries, right? Thinking they can maybe take advantage. And maybe it's just them being a little bit thoughtless. Maybe it's them being a little bit careless, but we've all been in positions where we're asked to bid on jobs, like I'll give you $50 for driving 2 hours each way and printing out a refi packet. No, that's not worth your time or money. We've shown up to appointments that have been canceled. That's inappropriate. We've been asked to do things and then not followed up with, right? All of us have had these experiences because in this professional setting, while one of the benefits of it is that we can work with so many partners, one of the challenges of it is that we work with so many partners, right? Variety is part of what we deal with, and that can mean a variety in the level of professionalism of the individuals that we're partnering with. So I've got some tips to help you hack that part of your work. The first thing is make sure you set a clear boundary. So every once in a while, things are going to happen, and that's understandable. We can show grace. But if it's the same individual consistently saying, hey, I've got a 9 a.m. opening, can you be there? A 9 a.m. closing, can you be there? And then you show up at 8:30 and, oh, it got canceled. We didn't tell you. That's not okay, right? That's disrespectful of your time and your energy. It's not professional. And it's important for you to set a clear boundary and say, I was told to be here at this time. This has been a problem more than once, and I would appreciate a phone call or an email if I'm going to be able to continue being here at your beck and call or for specific appointments if they are canceled, because I'm wasting my travel time. I'm sure you don't want to waste time talking to me right now about this. You can pick your own words and add your own spice, but you can professionally and calmly explain why what they're doing is really out of bounds. The second thing is just to be sure you're communicating. And I always recommend over communicating, right? Imagine if you drove an hour to get to that appointment and they simply forgot to let you know it was canceled. That's really not okay. And I think it's all right to say, I've set my boundary, I'm communicating my boundary, and now there are going to be consequences, right? I'm going to have to charge a travel fee if you're unable to be consistent about the appointments. If I'm investing the time and energy to be here for you as a loan signing agent, I'm afraid I'm going to have to charge that. Don't even say I'm afraid. See those old habits creeping in there? I'm going to have to charge a $50 travel fee each way because I've driven an hour each way, right? And then hold to those. Obviously, create the conversation and the relationship, but make sure there's a consequence. And maybe that consequence is you no longer work with that agency anymore, which is, of course, nothing we want to see happen. This is for people who are doing that to you often, right? This isn't appropriate for one-time offenders. This isn't appropriate for an emergency. Oh, I'm so sorry. I meant to call you, but my car broke down on the way to work, and it turns out the bank pulled the packet at the last minute and nobody knew. That's understandable. Those are things that can happen in our industry. But what shouldn't happen is the thoughtlessness and lack of professionalism on others' parts getting on you. I always call that just because somebody else is on fire doesn't mean you have to be on fire, right? And I think it's important in an industry where we're trying to cultivate higher levels of professionalism and higher, stronger levels of communication that we lead the way. Part of the American Elite Notary difference is we want to provide excellent white glove top tier service. That does not include abuse to you as an employee. That does not include abuse to you as a consultant or a third party 1099 person that's being called in. And it's perfectly reasonable for you to set those boundaries politely, reasonably, and professionally. And over time, I believe you'll be more respected for it. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. But Amy, I'm afraid, what if I do that and they don't call me back anymore? I would encourage you, whether it's in your personal life or in your professional life, to embrace that. I know it can be hard when times are lean and you're trying to start a business to feel that you can stand up for yourself. But that's what I'm going to encourage you to do because that's what you deserve. You deserve a work environment that is going to show you respect and treat you like the professional you are. And I mean that. I mean standing your ground. And so if you need to have a conversation about that, or you'd like to do some role playing, message me and we'll walk through that, because I understand how difficult conversations can cause anxiety. It also might not be your personality type, right? I tend to lean on communication and clear communication frequently. But if you're more of an introvert, or you're more of a numbers person, or you're, anti-conflict, I can understand why that might be hard. And I'm happy to walk through it with you, because once you've done it on your own, it becomes easier and easier and easier. I want you to think about the first time you did a closing. How did you feel? Can you go back to that moment where you just absolutely positive that you were going to miss something critical? Were you double checking every single signature and every single page so many times that it almost looked dog eared? But now, once you're in a rhythm, once you've done your 10th, 20th, 30th, 400th closing, it starts to become more comfortable. And that's the same with these difficult conversations in professional settings. The world is changing, and people are no longer accepting pittances for work, and they're no longer accepting inappropriate work environments. And you don't need to either. So embrace the power of having boundaries and being clear communicator, and know that I am cheering for you. You've got this. I look forward to seeing you here live around 5 tomorrow night. And I hope the end of your month is